you're going to have to identify threat levels in tanks. So the team that generally wins this, with a kind of a balanced team on both sides, threat levels in tanks are dependent on a multitude of things. One is its survivability, so how much hit points it has, how much armor it has. Is it easy to hit from the range you're at? Is it hard to hit? Is it hard to score a pen shot from where you are? Is it hull down? All those things need to be taken into factor. And the other part is its offensive ability on the battlefield. Scout tanks are pretty dangerous. They have a lot of camo, can light your whole team, tell the other team what you're doing. They're easy to pen, low hit points, usually high DPM, things like that. So scout tanks are usually priority that you kind of want to focus first, things like that. In between different heavies, like you have an IS-3 or an IS-6, you know, what's easier to pen, what's going to pen you. If an IS-6 is firing gold rounds at you and the IS-3 is firing AP, generally their pens around the same, but an IS-6 has more DPM and slightly more health. Is it going to be easier to pen where it is? And are you going to kill it faster, or is the IS-3 going to be easier to pen? If you get the IS-6 out, that's a little faster DPM gun off the field because it reloads a second faster than it. So these are kind of things keeping in mind when you're calling focus fire. As a caller, just always kind of keep those things in mind. So when you're going around flanks and stuff, you don't want to start shooting at IS-3s right away when there's a scale.
So in this round, it'd be the IS-6, then probably the Centurion, and the IS-3s, right?
What I would do is I would take out the Centurion, then the Tigers, then the IS-6. Centurion's got the weakest armor, the least hit points, and the most deep. Tigers are easier to pen than IS series and have more DPM and a better gun. And if you look at their hit point values, the Tiger 2 on the far left has a stock turret, got less hit points, and it's pretty much like butter. The stock turret on the Tiger is pretty much anywhere. Stuff like that. So that's what I would do. Centurion, Tigers, because they have most DPM and they're easy to pen. So when you have those options, kill them immediately, because ISs take 10.5 seconds max reload, whereas a Tiger gets 8 seconds, 7 seconds, right?
Okay.
And it may not be 400 alpha, but it's 320, and that adds up every time it fires. It's getting 2.5 seconds on.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, we kind of jibbed him out.
That one didn't go through.
Keep calling the target's names that you want focus fired.
Sorry, I'm so used to Tiger 2. IS-6. IS-6 Havoc.
Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy armor is hit.
Penetrate.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
Alright, go for the IS-3 on the far left.
Enemy armor is damaged. Enemy is hit. Penetration. Ready to fire.
The super
Target released.
Pershings, one of them nice.
Penetration.
Pretty much gonna have to load gold on them. 170 is too weak to even pen its low plate sometimes, straight on.
We didn't even scratch
Looks like they split their fire.
Yeah.
But that meant they could get away with it.
I would just like at least 20 seconds. When you're teeing up targets as the caller, there's a cooldown between each tee up. If you know that the enemy is going to die, you might as well save your tee up for the next target, because if you teed up the one that's about to die, then you wouldn't have a tee up ready for the next target, and it kind of confuses people, at least Team 2. So maybe keep that in mind when you're teeing up targets.
You don't want to tee up multiple targets because somebody will think that that guy's just going to die and they're going to swap targets. And
Yeah.
if that guy gets left with like 15 health and
Yes.
everyone starts shooting somebody else and you allow that guy to get one more shot off, it can be the difference between winning and losing a game.
Yeah.
Just because of a minor screw up like that. So as a caller, you can use your tee up and then you say the next person, somebody else can always tee for you, right? As long as you're giving enough communication as to where the target is, what its name is, how many hit points it has, its location, anything like that, the more detail, the easier it is for people to point out. Because we're all lined up on a straight line and was starting with full health, it makes it a little more difficult, but that's the whole point.
Yes.
So we're gonna run that again. Things I noticed there were different targets being shot and split health. Like we had a one-shot IS-3 on our side, and then everyone started shooting a full health IS-3, all the way down from 1500. Yeah, so without finishing off the other target, and then the super Pershings at the end got split in two. I know that you may have an overmatch on tanks, but what if one of those tanks suddenly ammo racks one of your guys? Yeah, one of the things that I heard while up on T1, well, that I kind of had to point out was that there were silent moments. As a caller, you just gotta fill the silence. When silence starts taking the air during clan battles and things like that, people start to freelance, and when they freelance, you start to lose because your strategic play isn't being executed. And they don't have to know what your strategic play is, because beyond the initial map tactic and a little bit of details, the battle's going to constantly change. So your strategic play will constantly be adapting to that and changing. So your soldiers are never going to know what their next move is until you tell them. So you kind of got to keep them occupied with things, right?
Oh yeah.
And talking, and you know, it can be so much as a call saying you sit here and watch this way, don't move, and stuff like that. Can I get this guy to go check this side or something like that? I'm gonna go check this side. Just constantly announce everything, because as soon as you stop talking, people might not be inclined to do what they were supposed to do. So yeah, so we'll run that again. We'll have Team 2 drop back down again. I'll stay up here. If I die, I'll probably just swap back and forth between channels, just listening to the comms. But yeah, we'll try and see if we can just fix those minor things here with this next round.
Darvin?
Make sure you
Or left?
Yep.
DHL?
try and add more info to that, like Tiger team rather than just team.
All right. Barrett? Good one. Next target is going to be the IS-6 in the middle. Havoc.
We didn't penetrate their armor. Penetration.
297. All right. Then we're going to go the IS-3 that was right next to him. Shadow. 428 left.
Enemy armor is damaged.
IS-3, shadow. There you go.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
Rubik, IS-3 to the left of that. 1071, 701. There you go.
We didn't penetrate
All
their
back.
armor.
Next IS-3 to the rust. To the far left. There you go.
Penetration.
Next IS-3, far right.
That one bounced.
Continue up.
Got him.
And of course the last.
Enemy
So if you're
armor
gonna
is
shoot a
damaged.
super P, hit it in the cupola on the top left. Right
There you
along
go.
its turret roof.
Penetration.
Its bottom plate is spaced armor, its top plate spaced armor, base is spaced armor. Likely to pen all of those.
Yeah.
Channel.
Okay, that one went a lot better.
For you guys,
How-
maybe.
Yeah, so we're gonna move on to the next stage. I'm gonna be on team 2, and this are the calls for these guys this time. This time, we're just gonna drive straight out into the field. So the second the battle starts, you can pretty much start shooting. The only difference here is everyone is going to the tilled field like we were. No one's hiding behind bushes, no one's chai sniping from the back, no one's going down in the ridges by the lake, hull down shooting. Everyone's out on the tilled field, very center patch like we were, and you can start firing on the move on the way out there for all I care. You can ram, you can drive right into them, you can drive right past them and keep shooting, but you're staying on the center field. The other part to this is the focus fire here is going to need to be apparent because we have moving vehicles. So you can feel free to try and bounce your shots as much as you want, wiggle your tank when you feel like you're going to get shot at, whatever. But everyone's going to be in the open field. So the only sources of cover to help block from damage is going to be your own teammates and corpses that pile up. So you can keep those in mind. Use them at your disposal. You'll want to try and share hit points with your teammates to prevent focus fire. But the main goal of this is to work focus fire and calling together.
Enemy armor is hit. Target acquired.
Okay, I'm getting behind.
Penetration.
The tank gave me up. I'm dead.
Rubik, you can back up and use the dead guys.
Enemy armor is hit.
I'm out.
They're knocked out. Critical hit.
We got teed up. I'm looking for him.
6 on the right.
Penetration. Ready to fire. Enemy armor is destroyed. Ready to fire. Enemy armor is damaged.
A couple things I noticed with that. Overall, it was pretty good. However, from my side, there were multiple times when there were lower health targets to shoot at that were easy to kill because we had flanks surrounding. However, we teed up full health targets instead. So keep in mind, you know, something with 750 health that only takes about 2 shots from 2 heavy tanks should probably go first before something that has 1500 hit points, especially when you have side shots and easy pen shots on it, right? It just makes focus fire that much quicker. The whole objective about focus fire is removing guns from the field, because the less guns they have, the less damage they can do, the more guns you have. And for every gun you get up, you start gaining reload times and extra damage, and they start losing reload times and damage. So try and keep that in mind.
Mustang, I have a question.
Yeah.
In that last one, like one of the targets that were teed up was obscured from another tank. So if I'm loaded, I should move to try and hit that target, or just pick another one.
Depends on how long it's going to take you to get that shot off. If it only takes 2 to 3 seconds to properly get a shot on somebody who is, you know, of considerably lower health or a threat than another target, then by all means take those 2 to 3 seconds to move and get the shot. If it's going to take you, you know, 4 or 5 seconds to pull a shot off, that's 4 or 5 seconds on your next reload that you could have shot someone else with. So that's when you're starting to lose damage on your targets that you're focus firing. So you can pick the next lowest health threat or next threat at that level and start shooting at it. Because generally not everyone will be able to focus fire at the same target, but in a wide open field like this, the only thing that's going to make the difference is tank corpses and other tanks shielding. So an important thing here is as soon as you start seeing targets, just start teeing up who you want gone.
Let's get this show on the road.
You can keep telling people to either push and shoot at the same time or stop and shoot. That's up to you. But you want to start picking your targets right away so that people have an idea to shoot at.
Target acquired.
Start teeing targets. Need names.
IS-3.
Penetrate their armor. Target unlocked. Target acquired.
I'm low. I'm falling back.
Even scratch them. Ready to fire. Ready to fire.
One shot
Find
IS-3.
another target.
Got a one-shot IS-3.
Critical hit.
Tiger 2 there.
We didn't penetrate their armor. Ready to fire. Target unlocked. Enemy armor is damaged. Penetration. Ready to fire. Where'd they go? Permission to engage. Let's find another target. Enemy is hit. We didn't penetrate their armor.
He's blocked.
That one didn't go through. Critical hit. We lost the track.
We only got 4 tanks live.
Let's go.
With that T-26, he's moving up on you.
Critical hit. Enemy armor is hit.
Dang it.
Enemy armor is damaged.
Okay, so what I noticed for Team 1 is I see a lot of targets being teed, which is great. However, we gotta get a lot of info on targets, like when you're calling for targets. So things that need to be brought up. Like as soon as we spot the enemy team, you should have your target in mind, like within a few seconds, because there was a long pause from when we started driving up, nothing was being teed or set out. That creates kind of angst in the players, and then they're just going to stop and shoot or drive and shoot. They're not going to wait, and you might have wanted them to hold their shots, but you got to verbally say so. So things like you spot the enemy team, you get right out into the field, you're going to ping like, I want that Karen gone. Everyone shoot the Karen, you know, just keep the talk going. You can even keep repeating the hit points of the target that you want gone. So Carnarvon, kill him, tee him up. You know, everyone keep shooting. 400 hit points, 60 hit points, get him out, kill him right now, now. And it puts urgency on the call, and people start focusing their shots, focusing their aiming, making sure that their shot's going to count. If none of that's being called in the battle, people are just going to take their time. And sometimes that will be the difference between winning and losing is urgency on a matter. So yeah, we're gonna try that again. I'm gonna call for Team 1 this time, and then we'll run it once more after, and then I'll call for Team 2 so you guys can see how the call should be going. But so far the focus fire is pretty good, and I think we'll kind of move on to sharing hit points afterwards. Because yeah, your guys' focus fire seems pretty good for the most part. You guys listen to calls pretty well. Okay, so everyone's gonna drive out to this side, right here, and we're all gonna kind of keep our tanks somewhat close to each other, about a tank length in between, so we can block for each other, and our corpses are nearby if we need them. So don't block shots of your allies, but try and be a little close so that if one of us gets down to, you know, 2 hit points, he can kind of back up in behind people. Okay, everyone stop and aim at this Tiger 2. So that Tiger 2, Karen. Let's take the Karen. Tiger 2's sitting in the ridge. Like he's not supposed to be, so. Everyone keep tapping this Karen. Every shot into him. Nice, next this Tiger 2. 1135. Keep pounding away. Okay, next. Don't have shots on that Tiger 2, hit the other Tiger 2. You have, okay, we're working this Tiger 2 next, 1600. One more shot on the Tiger 2.
He's tracked.
Next shot, one.
Didn't penetrate their armor.
Okay, we're gonna focus this IS-3 on the right side. Every shot to the IS-3 on the right. Cool, next Tiger 2. Tiger 2 that popped back up. Cool, nice shot. Okay, everyone on this IS-6 on the left side. One more shot, IS-6, cool. Next IS-3 on the inner side.
We didn't even scratch them.
Don't have a shot at him, take a shot at this IS-3 who popped in front. There we go, 12 HP. Every shot towards that 12 HP IS-6. One more shot, one more shot. Okay, 1100. Hit this 1100 out at the side. Side's exposed. 389, good, nice shot. Okay, next we're gonna hit the Super P. So everyone aim at the cupolas in the top left or the bottom plate, your choice. Okay, if someone has a shot at this IS-3, take it. If not, keep working the Super P. Okay, everyone push in. Just keep firing on the move. And push in towards that last tank.
Target acquired.
Low health tanks, if you're one shot, just stay in the back behind the full health tank. And just keep moving up.
Target
Nice shot. Okay, aside from some people trying to hide in the ditch when they're getting blasted, that went pretty well. But for those guys that were on my team, did you see how the calls went? Like, there's not really a dull moment. It's kind of, you know, one tank disappears, he can't really be shot, we're swapping to next target. We had a target, he kind of disappeared into a ditch, so we swapped targets right away. Continuing to focus fire him down. We got the Cairn out, then we started working the Tiger, he dropped down into a ditch. We started working the next Tiger. How we were given multiple options, you know, kill this guy if you don't have shots at him, work this next Tiger, kind of deal. That there's not really any downtime for people to start picking their own targets. I'm giving somebody to shoot it the entire time. That everyone has something to focus, everyone has something to tee up, everyone has shots. And I think the only time that it kind of went a little bit hectic on our side was at the very end. I called it an 1100 health IS-3 when there was 1000 health. The reason I chose the 1100 because his side plate was widely exposed for most of our team, but a couple people shot the 1000 health, and I think that was pretty much the only thing that didn't go pretty smooth. But even then, that was just a minor hiccup in terms of focus fire. I think the focus fire all in all though is good, but keep practicing that as a clan for the bit. The third drill that we did there, just everyone make sure that you're out in the field so that people aren't hauled down, you know, behind ridges and stuff. The whole drill is to focus fire, and realistically you would never park heavy shooting at turrets across a field like that. Would just never happen.
Excuse me, was Team 1 in the ditch, or were we?
Yeah.
I think both teams had a couple people. Yeah, so
we were basically you guys had the lower glacis covered, and all we were getting was upper glacis and turret shots.
Yeah, so I think people were having a tendency to try and fall back when they started getting shot at, but they started going hull down. So it kind of slows the momentum of the drill down, and that's not what it's about. It's about focusing fire, and it's not really about bouncing. So that's a whole other thing. You know, going hull down, angling, and all that stuff. But the drill is focused on just pure hull down. Another thing, try not to fire HE. I get if you run out of ammo, you run out of ammo, and you go into your HE reserves. That's fine. But try not to fire HE. You want to practice hitting the weak spots on tanks and getting used to penning certain places. Even if the guy's at, you know, like a couple health left, just try and kill him with an AP shell rather than an HE. It's more valuable to you to start exploiting weak spots and angles on tanks with other shells than it is to finish someone off with an HE. And realistically, a lot of tier 10 tanks can just absorb an HE shell and take nothing from it. Especially things like IS-7s and ED-100s, you just fire an HE into their tracks and it's going to do absolutely nothing half the time unless it's a big gun. So therefore it's not such a great thing to do in clan wars. It's a lot more reliable to just pen a regular shell. Can we get the map swapped to Himmelsdorf? Cool. So we're just gonna work on sharing HP and tank maneuvering here. We're all gonna go out into the railroad. We can all stay in this channel, and I'm gonna start pairing people up, and all these tanks work for it. So if we are able to get to the live fire practice part of this, then this will replace that focus fire training. But if not, I just practice the focus fire training on the down part. But the way things are going, you guys should pick it up quickly. Be able to try the line fire training.
I think we have a lot of potential.
Yep. You guys are learning quickly, so good. One of the other clans I taught took them full 2 hours to be able to start focus firing properly. So you're way ahead of that. Okay, so we're going to use. Okay, let's have the Tiger 2 stop where you are and turn and face me. And let's have Shadow. Can you line up in behind the Tiger 2? And you want to keep about a half tank length of space in between. There you go. Cool. Now they're going to be our markers, so everyone grab a partner, it doesn't matter who it is, and line up just like Green Parrot and Shadow facing towards me. So you're going to be on that side, and you want about 1 tank length in between them. So kind of like Havoc and Rustar, you want maybe a little more space, just so you have some space to work with. And then, yeah, so keep following the example right here that we got. Mexican and BCLS, you guys might want to move down just a hair this way.
Yeah, keep in front of me.
Yeah, and you guys can start lining up the same thing on the side. About 1 tank length in between. Everyone should have a partner. Yeah, so Rubric, if you want to line up behind Live. Live, you're going to want to space yourself out this way a little more. And yeah, and then if you want to line up behind Wolf, Renan, and Wolf, you'll want a little more space out about here. Okay, that works. Okay, I'm going to borrow Havoc here. So Havoc, everyone else just chill where you guys are. Havoc, if you want to come out in front here. Yeah, and I'm going, if you just want to line up behind me. And I'm just going to do a demo here. Okay, so the whole point of this, we'll get over here to the flat part without the railroad track. The whole point of this is sharing HP. So just like focus fire, these two things are the most basic skills that go hand in hand during any fight. If no matter what the strat, the tank composition, anything it comes down to in a battle, these two skills are always going to be resorted to by clans. And the clan that does these two skills more effectively, even if they get surrounded, if they completely outperform you in focus fire and sharing hit points, even being surrounded, they can still win the fight. So it's really important that focus fire and sharing HP are constantly done together in unison. And we're gonna work on the sharing HP part right now, and we'll move to focus firing and sharing HP at the same time a little later. So basically what we're gonna do is when I say switch, everyone's gonna do it at the same time. Just for now, I'm just gonna do it as a demo so everyone can just watch. So, but I'm gonna call switch, and basically, actually, here, I'll go in behind Havoc so it makes it a little easier. So when I say switch, Havoc, you can pick whichever way you want to back up, and we're just going to pretend Havoc just took the first volley of focus fire and, you know, he's at like 200 HP or something. So Havoc, switch with me. So you're just going to pick away. So as he backs up and comes around, you notice how when I get, you can sit right there, Havoc. Don't keep backing up too much. As soon as he backs up and around, I'm just going to turn my tank to angle and drive out in front. So Havoc, you can drive straight up to my tank now. And you want to keep your turret in behind my turret. So right now, and you right about here. There you go. So it's really important that Havoc's not too far behind me and that he's not too close. So if you're touching my tank, it might stop me from wiggling or making me any movements. So you want to get as close as you can without really touching it. And it's really important that he's not backed up far away. So for demonstration purposes, we're just going to pretend that everyone's enemy is to their 12 o'clock. So the whole point is if he keeps backing up, if Havoc keeps backing up, everyone from multiple angles out in front will start having shots at multiple areas. If he's hugged up close to, like this to my tank, it makes a lot harder for people to shoot at him. This is a really easy maneuver that can be done in about 3 seconds if you do it properly. So basically what I do is I call switch. I just back out to my direction and turn like this right here. All Havoc has to do is drive out and turn and keep turning us slightly and drive out more. A little further, there you go. And now I just drive up. So you can probably angle a little less. There you go. But you see how easy of a maneuver it is? It's pretty much just a square. So if I call switch again, Havoc just has to back out. Drive up beside, I drive up in front, and then he can just drive forward. Right, so it doesn't take very much time at all. That's how fast you can block, and he's pretty much 95% or more blocked from an enemy shot directly in front. Basically, you're concerned about saving the tank in behind you because he's critical. You don't want to overexpose and be sideways like this. That's just going to pretty much expose your ammo rack, engine, all of that, make you really easy to pen. You don't want to be straight on like this because now you can shoot past me into him. It's too easy to make a shot from multiple angles. So you want to be somewhere in between where you're angled just enough so that you can block him. You're still going to take some damage, but at least you're not going to take easy pens from it. Everybody kind of got that?
Yep.
Cool. Ronan, you can head back to your spot. The other part of this that's going to make it a little more difficult is that you guys are all one tank length away. So just like in a clan battle, when you're pushing a group of tanks down a flank, you're not going to have a whole lot of space to work with. So you're going to have to work with your allies that are beside you and coordinate with them while you're doing this so that you don't all start bumping up into each other, grinding tanks, pushing another guy out, and screwing each other, basically going from sharing hit points to stranding a guy out in the open and getting him killed. So you have limited space to move around in between, and everybody's just going to pretend that the tanks that are shooting at them are straight in front at their 12 o'clock, so you're angling towards that. You're not angling towards me. Cool. Everyone good to go?
Yep.
Alright, okay. So every time I call switch, you guys are going to swap partners, so the guy in the back will come forward, and the guy in the front will be in the back. Alright, switch.
Ooh, I crashed.
Stinger crashed.
Oh, okay.
Oh, fuck.
We got a runaway tank.
Oh, God.
Alrighty, I'm just gonna kind of drive around and check people's positioning, make sure. So IS3, you kind of want to pull up a little more in front. There you go. So you want your turret to be right behind the guy behind you. So the Shadow, you want to pull up a little more. There you go. So you want the back tank, you want your turret directly in behind the turret of the guy in front of you. The whole point is surviving, not trying to get hull down shots, because some tanks, like tank destroyers, can just load a gold round and go through your face anyways. And the whole point is about getting away alive to keep your gun in later. And resort to shooting hull down and all that afterwards once you've survived the volley, but this is all about surviving first and foremost. Evo, you can angle a little less. There you go, that's good. That's good. Brennan, you want to drive forward a little more? There you go. And yeah, that's good. Cool. Alright, so if everyone's back, try and adjust your spacing now back to 1 tank length. Everyone can just go to a reset position. And Evo and St. Louis, you probably want to shift over to your left a little more. So Stinger and Gander have a little more space. There you go. And then Pit and DHL, you guys will want to shift down closer to Parrot and Shadow. Okay, cool. Okay, switch. Okay, switch.
I can't.
Thanks a lot.
Oh,
That was my fault.
What's going on? Oh, mine once in a while.
Gotta put your safety on.
unplug your mouse.
Cool. Alrighty. Switch.
The radio is hit. We can't raise anyone outside this area.
Shit.
Be serious, guys. Come on.
Okay, switch.
Mustang, quick question.
Yeah.
Like, alright, I'm just over here in front of St. Louis now. Do I want to make sure that I have enough of an angle and he has enough space that if I need to, I can peel back like this without, you know, of course, him blocking me, right?
Yeah, you want
I mean, for
to
the
have
most part.
enough. You want to have enough
Mobility.
space so that you can move if you need to, and he can move if he needs to. So you're not jarring each other, but you also want to be close enough so that he's not going to get popped from someone out to the side.
Yeah, which
so
means that I need, it's a question of distance and angle. Because if I'm like this,
yeah,
then I can't
yeah,
move.
exactly. So
Gotcha.
where you are right now is pretty much perfect. Alright, so the whole goal of this is the fastest heavy tank reloads in about 7 seconds. So an FV 215B reloads around the 7-second mark, about like 7.3 or 7.5 or something like that. So the whole point is for everyone to be able to do this in under that as a whole group. Can do this realistically in about 3 seconds between the tanks if you do it properly. So we'll have to restart the room because we're running on low on time here to do it again. But what we'll do is as soon as the timer ends, everyone will come back here, try and pair up with a different partner so that you have to get used to adjusting to each other because you're not going to be switching with the same partner all the time in combat. And we'll continue running it.
Let's go.
There goes that gun.
Need a
Okay,
partner.
so everyone needs to be about 1 tank length away as well, so try and fill in the gaps or close the gaps. Shadow, you gotta move down a little more this way. And live, you guys gotta move down a little bit too.
I'm gonna move to Shadow.
Yeah, no, you guys can stay where you are. We'll just have live and green come fill the gap over here. DV, come a little more this way. Alright, let's see if we can get this done. 7 seconds is a... Okay, so everyone good to go?
Yeah.
Alright, okay, switch. There's 7. Okay, so in order for everyone to have this done as a group in 7 seconds, the front tank needs to be angled, back tank needs to be in behind its turret, and you guys shouldn't be back far away, so Wolf, you're pretty far back. Banner, you need to angle. Keep angling more. More. There you go. And St. Louis, you gotta kind of come closer to him. I know your turret's big, but you're trying to restrict the hull being shot at. Gate, you can angle less. Ronin, you can angle a little more, and Rust, your turret needs to be in behind Ronin's. And Shadow, your turret needs to be in behind Mexicans.
Like that?
Yep. Cool. Everyone's good there. Alright. Okay, switch. Rubric, you can come a little closer to Wolf. Shadow, you need to angle a little more. There you go, that's better. Cool. Alright, switch. Okay, there's 7 seconds. So keep in mind, if you're the front tank, all you need to do is hop out of the tank's way. So as soon as you back up, he can pretty much drive right by you, right? So back up, just fix your angle to go in behind, and the front tank can then just adjust his angle and drive forward. It takes a lot more time to try and center your tank in behind his turret, backing up, adjusting your angle like this, than it does for the guy in front of you to simply drive forward and do that. So just keep that in mind. Right, switch. And another thing, you don't all have to kind of face, the same way. I get it makes it easier as a group when you're closer. However, you can kind of wait a second or two for the filter the other guys through, since you can do it in 3 seconds. When you're driving forward, if you're driving up and left around the guy, don't then start angling your tank all the way the other way. It just takes more time, and as your tank rotates by, you completely expose the guy behind you again for more shots. So when you drive up and around the guy falling in behind you, just pick the angle that's closest or the fastest way to what you're already doing and just go with that. It's all about speed and keeping your ally alive, not about having it look perfect. So you're trying to generally get the angle right and have his turret in behind yours as close as possible. And we're kind of being a little nitty-gritty here right now, but in reality, you're not going to have long to do this, and it's not going to be perfect, so you just kind of got to get it down pat and speed. Yep. It's gonna be completely dependent on what strats you're running and stuff. The reason I like tier 8 heavy tanks for this is because they're about a general size between everything. So they're a good size tank to do this with. It's not too easy and it's not too hard. And there's not a whole lot of things that are bigger than it. So if you can do it with kind of big tier 8 heavies, tier 10, like E100s and mouses will be a little more difficult, but you'll already have the whole foundation of this concreted, and anything smaller will just be a lot easier to do this in.
Mustang, I guess the objective anyway to this is to make sure your buddy in the back doesn't take any more damage.
Exactly.
You know you're going to take some up front, but
Yep.
I guess the idea is to keep his gun in the game. So, and you'll do a better job, I guess, if you're wider than just straight on.
Yep.
I don't know, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, switch.
Oh shit! Sorry.
Ah.
Nicely done, Kate.
So to make it a little easier on the guys in the back, for them having to stop kind of backing up and adjusting to fit in behind your turret, the front tank, you can always just pull up a little more. So it's teamwork on both your parts to work together, swapping the tanks and making sure it looks right. Okay, switch.
I think me and Mexican are doing this wrong. In the way that the front person is side scraping, or rather angling, and then the person behind him is angling in the opposite way. Is that how you're supposed to do it? Because that's what we've been doing.
The front person's angled, the back person is straight. The reason you're straight in the back is because any angles that are going to be shot at, being straight on already makes it angled. So if you angle towards one direction, you're just flattening your armor towards someone shooting at you from another direction.
Yeah, the person in the back is theoretically reloading, and the person at the front is taking a shot.
Yeah.
If
All
I
right,
was
switch. Keep talking.
I was gonna say, if I was facing towards the right, the person behind me has his barrel to the left of the turret.
Yeah, no, you just want the person in behind just needs to be like looking straight on towards their tank and their turret right in behind theirs. It's all about staying alive. So the closer you are, the harder it is for tanks in the distant pen. And with your turret straight on, unless you have a flat kind of turret like a Tiger 2 or something, then maybe you can choose to look at a target. But typically, if you're going to move your turret around, and your tank angled to one or more directions, kind of just imagine a firing line like a U out in the distance. Kind of turn your turret one way, and it's going to make it weaker and easier to pen for the other way. Easiest thing is just kind of keep it straight on. It's generally going to give you the most protection.
I think I got it now.
Yeah. Okay, switch.
Shadow, could you pull up more when you do that?
Yep.
Thank you.
Switch. Okay, let's have the front row stay still, and the back row move down one person to your left. So Wolf, you'll have to drive all the way around, over and behind Mexican. Everybody else is shifting down one partner. Okay, switch. 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 So try not to make too many elaborate movements when you're doing this. Some people kind of have it down pat. The less you move, the easier it is. You don't need to keep backing up in huge amounts and stuff. It just makes it take longer and harder to gauge where you're going to end up for the other person. The less you move, the easier it actually becomes. Which, okay, we'll try the live fire with this since it looks like almost everybody's kind of got that down pat or pretty close to it. So basically, this is a combination between focus fire and sharing HP. So there's two different things here. Again, it's going to be collars, just like the focus fire on Malinovka. So you're going to be working focus fire, except now everyone knows how to share HP and rotate health through. So it'll be more difficult. So you're going to have to try and swap targets and prioritize and try and kill things before they can rotate health through. It's the caller's job to focus fire and identify targets that he wants killed, and everyone else's job to continually tee targets that are being teed and kill what needs to be killed. Everyone else's job is manage their own HP. The caller should never have to micromanage a player, and it's actually bad when he does have to micromanage a player. If you realize that you're at, 500-600 hit points and the rest of your team is full health, you have a responsibility to back up and tell somebody to get in front of you at the same time. Or if you can do it without communicating that verbally to free up the comms, that's great. But if you need to kind of point that out, like, hey, somebody jump in front of me here, that you can feel free to do that. Callers, or after experience, will be able to kind of dismiss that chatter, and it'll just go one ear and out the other. They know it's simple things like focus fire for other flank commanders and sharing HP and stuff. All of that will just kind of get run through the background, and everyone will be used to listening to the caller's voice for overall calls. So those aren't really an issue. So it's really important that everyone manages their own HP. So manage your own HP, filter your health through, so full health tanks up at the front. Use the maneuver that we just did if at all possible. Once corpses start piling up, get in behind corpses. It's the same thing as a permanent tank just sitting there angled in front of you. that never loses HP. So those are also to your advantage. And keep all those things in mind. I'll hit spectate here to make the teams for that. And I'll jump in between the channels just listening to chatter, and we should be able to get about 2 of these done. But yeah, does anyone have any kind of questions before we start this?
So we're lining up at the cornerstones
The 3 line, yep.
of the 3
Yeah.
line, only the 3 line.
Yeah, you can line up your tanks however you want. You want everyone hidden in behind one tank sideways, go ahead. I don't recommend it because he dies right away, but however you want. But at least your team has to be beside that cornerstone. The other part is no one is backing up in behind walls or pushing up in behind walls. Everyone has to stay on the open street. So like Malinovka, where people were retreating in behind the ruts trying to get hauled down, can't do that because it's a flat street. But don't try to go around the corner and disappear in between shots. Don't try and push up in between the breaks in the walls by the courtyard. Everyone has to stay out in the open. If you want to haul down, behind your own teammate and use a corpse, wherever a corpse dies, that's fine. You can do that by any means, but don't be using any of the cover other than the wide open street. The whole point is to train each other on sacrificing your HP and maneuvering around your own allies and focus fire while calling. And if you do things like that, like hiding behind the cornerstones and running for cover, it's not only ruining the practice for everyone, it's making it harder for everyone to learn as an experience on how to properly do it. So if anything, it just takes away from what's being taught. So it works better if everyone kind of plays along with that and tries to be fair with that standard. And the same thing, fair with the standard on waiting till both teams kind of get to the cornerstone to fire.
Get this show on the road.
Going a 3 line, right?
This way.
Whoops.
Target.
Enemy is hit.
They got me too fast.
We didn't even scratch them.
Rubik can use mine.
Switch. I'm out. Yeah, it was...
Yeah, it's the focus fire that got us, I think.
Switch out, KV4.
User joined your channel.
Okay. Yep. Coming up there, St. Louis.
Nice block, Demon.
Enemy armor is hit. We didn't penetrate their armor.
Shit. What? I'm done.
Penetration. We fixed the track. Get going.
Out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Ren, step back so Bob can back out if he wants.
I don't need to, really.
Penetrate their armor.
User left your channel.
Critical hit.
Yeah, Bob, you can come around. You got plenty of cover from the dead tank body.
I hardly took any damage.
Critical hit.
There you go, boys. There you go. We're both
Glad
one
you might want
shots.
to switch it, Ren.
Let's
Nice
roll
shot.
this guy.
You guys can just push it.
Enemy
Shot. There you go.
User joined your channel. User joined your channel. User joined your channel. User joined your channel.
Okay.
User joined your channel.
Gets a little
User
tricky when
was
you want
moved-
to
user
switch.
joined your channel.
But you track, you detrack.
Exactly.
Track again and focus down too quick.
That's why it's really important for tanks beside you and behind you to start looking at HP and managing each other's HP. Again, the caller is worried about what targets he needs to kill and the overall strategy on the map. Obviously, there's not really any strategy other than what we're practicing right now, but in real clan wars and stuff, he's going to have a lot more to do than just focus fire on his mind all the time. So if you try and make him add in a job of rotating hit points and tanks around, that's way too much for him to start thinking about. And it will overwhelm him and he'll lose sight of the big picture, which just gets you killed. So that wasn't bad. There were a lot of opportunities. People could have rotated health and jumped on it right away. And because people didn't and they're too focused on making their focus fire shot count, you lost a couple of your teammates. Other points are, as soon as a tank dies, it's a solid stationary piece of armor, so you can feel free to just back up in behind that tank and haul down behind it or use it as cover and peek-a-boom around it. So if there's two tanks out in the open, sharing HP, but there's a dead tank to the right and they're both out in the open, both of you should probably work together to shift your HP in behind that tank, especially if the guy behind you is one shot. Shouldn't just back straight up and go in behind the dead corpse and let him get blasted. Well, that just kind of dismisses what we'd worked on, right? And the end goal is either a tank should die within a few seconds immediately because the focus fire was really well, or that tank should take a lot of damage and not be dead, and everyone should be at relatively low hit points before people start dying. That's how you know when you're doing really good sharing HP, is that instead of having full health tanks, you have a lot of low health tanks. You'll notice when you fight good clans, that's always the case, is a lot of their tanks get to low health, and you have 5 tanks that are at full health and 5 dead tanks, right? So now they have an extra 5 guns in the fight. They may all be one shot, but if they all shoot their 10 guns at one tank, you're going to lose another tank right away, and you guys will have to split your turrets up in between shooting tanks that can focus fire from multiple angles, can flank you, can go run away and hide, and snipe you from the back, right?
Yeah.
So let's just run it one more time, and we'll kind of just try and keep those things in mind. So the callers just keep working on the focus fire.
User
Keep
left your channel.
trying to focus fire like I was calling during the Malinovka, and everyone try and be really conscious of your teammates' health and your health beside you. If all it takes is you to pull up a few seconds to drive in front of him, if he's at 800 hit points and you're at full health, be in front of him, because it only takes 2 to 3 shots to kill that guy. It's gonna take 4 to kill you. So, you know, you got to keep those things in mind. So let's try and run that again and see if we can have a better result for both sides this team.
Let's go.
Oh, you want to switch? Okay. The reason I didn't switch because I really wasn't taking no damage, you know? Okay.
Get closer, Danner. Target. Okay.
We didn't even scratch them. We're immobilized. Track fixed. Let's roll.
Move over some, Danner.
We're dead for. Everyone get out.
My life.
Go ahead and fall back.
St. Louis, if your health is fine,
Need help.
I'm doing okay for now.
I got a shell, so.
Alright,
there you go.
use those dead tanks.
User left your channel.
Back out, Tiger.
I'm tracked, Wolf.
Alright, 6, where is it? I don't see. Okay.
I'm out.
User joined your channel.
Next.
IS-3 on the right, 463.
And he's throwing HP again, or AP.
User left your channel.
Got him. Alright.
I'm out. St. Louis is the only one up.
I have much of a shot on BCLS.
Yeah, did a good job of covering the other guy.
I put one into BCLS if you get a chance. Pretty good position right there.
It's that hiccup, that one went a lot better. For rotating health in between when you shoot, is an idea that it's kind of unnecessary if you're at full health, right? Because the entire time you're moving, you're opening angles to other people. When you can just kind of pick a general angle with a group head on and most likely ring off shots. If you're kind of rotating tanks in and around each other, it presents side shots and stuff, especially on weaker tanks without great side armor like Tiger 2s and stuff. And it presents track damage shots. So like the front spokes on the IS-3, which can be shot at a relatively decent angle and still be pinned for track damage. So you don't really need to move unless you have to. The sharing HP was really well done by Team 2. And the shots were nicely placed by Team 1. But you guys get the picture, right? The focus fire and sharing HP go hand in hand. So if one team just does both and another team just sits there and focuses fire, the team that shares HP and focuses fire is going to completely obliterate the team that just focus fires. It's not even a contest. But yeah, that one went a lot better than the first time around. So I would say keep practicing that throughout the week. If you can, at least have like an hour training session twice, so that you can just keep running that drill, because that's a really good drill. You don't have to do the focus fire one on Malinovka, because this covers both of that. This covers focus fire and sharing HP. And if one team, for a caller, if you ever see your team get up enough health, like they have 2 tanks left and you have 4 tanks left, you know they can only dish out about 800 damage unless they ammo rack the guy, right? So you can always feel free to take all your tanks, push the full health guy up front, and then push everyone in behind. Because hopefully they'll only kill about 1 of you by the time you get there, and then you'll have 3 guns right in their face. So then you can eliminate 1 of their tanks, and then the focus fire becomes really apparent because 3 guns on reload while 1 gun is available to shoot you guys. He can only take off 1 target, right? So just keep those things in mind while you guys are doing it.